It's time to shine with Kendall Lanise, transformational life coach, author, and speaker. This is a show where the spotlight shines on people, topics, and subjects that are honest, real, and relevant to you. Be ready to be educated, elevated, and entertained. Here's your host, Lady Motivator herself, Kendall Lanise. Good evening, everybody. It is Kendall Lanise once again. Thank you so much for tuning in to Shine. Thank you for shining with me this Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, I'm shining my spotlight on Valencia J. This episode is entitled One More Thing for a Reason, and we're going to talk about that. We're talking to Valencia today, and this show is, I already know I'm going to be choked up because this is an amazing story. This is amazing that this beautiful woman is still alive because she was burned alive. So we are going to get into her story momentarily. Valencia's life has not been no crystal stair, as Langston Hughes would say. She's been through everything you can imagine one person to be. Raped, molested, physically abused, mentally abused. She's been held captive, assaulted, struggled with many areas of her life. And through her short 45 years on this earth, she has already proven to be a survivor. Now here is one more thing. She is joining me tonight to talk about the accident that almost costed her her life. She was really burned alive. And if you've seen the pictures on social media and the ad promoting this show, you see exactly what I mean. You can't look at those pictures and not feel something. I felt a whole lot just looking at them. And she's still alive, y'all. She's still alive here to tell her story tonight. So tonight I welcome one of my favorite life coaching clients, Miss Valencia J. Hey, darling. Welcome to Shine.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Shine. Girl. You're still here.
I know, right? And breathing.
Yeah, absolutely. For everyone tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in to Shine. If this is your first time, hopefully it's not your last time. I don't even want to go further with an intro. I don't want to talk about anything else other than your story today. And this is part one of 2 parts. Her second part will air next Wednesday. This is the first part with Valencia. So, I don't even know where to start. Okay. So, tell the people when this horrific, you hear me, horrific with a T. I joke with my kids and stuff and I say I'm gonna put a T on everything, and see, it caught me right now. I always laugh because that's one of our jokes we're gonna put, and now people say period with a T. But but you had a horrific accident in 2018, 8/18/18, and you told me that the old you died on 8/18/18. Can you explain what that means? What were you talking about when you told me that? And if you can speak up so everyone can hear you.
Okay. I didn't want to be too loud.
No, be loud. You use your outside voice on the show.
The darkness, the people pleasing, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
What else could go wrong attitude.
Mm-hmm.
What's next attitude. Why me attitude. Or walk out my door and smile attitude. Like I'm okay attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Being mute attitude. I was just really tired. I really was tired. Working all the time attitude. making sure everybody else okay attitude. I put my last attitude. I was in a dark space.
Okay, so tell everybody why the significance on changing your life and why the old Valencia died on 8/18/18. What happened that day?
Well, actually, it was I had it, on 8/17, I just had finished a Yelp event. And that went great because I was rebranding the business.
Tell the people about your business. Tell your people about your business real quick.
I do mobile brows, lashes, microblading. I'm actually starting back up doing hair, maintenance locks. I do esthetician, full body waxing. Anything I think under the sun, I'm learning. So I love really doing makeup and things of that nature to bring inner beauty out in other women so they can feel good about themselves.
Absolutely. So you do a lot for a lot of people, especially women. So on 8/17/18, you were attending a Yelp event.
I have a close friend of mine, and when he has events that will fit what I do, he will call me. So we had set it up. It was a great event. I mean, it went awesome. So I was like, okay, good. I came home that night. Everything was everything. I loaded the truck, relaxed. So I woke up the next day, and I was like, okay, I'm going to wash clothes today because, you get ready for work the next day. And I was like, let me wash clothes later. Went to the grocery store. I mean, it was just a regular day.
A normal day, yeah.
And I was celebrating. I got me a bottle of wine. I was like, yes, the event went great. Met some new clients. And I just was really excited. So I sat down on the couch. I started to load of clothes. Now, this was around, I would say, 12:30, 1 o'clock. I started a load of clothes, and I sat on the couch. So the first load of clothes had finished. And I was unpacking everything from the event. I put everything in its place. And some of the bags I didn't unpack right away. And I started a new set of clothes. I said, let me just sit back down and finish drinking my wine. And I got sleepy. So I said, I didn't even realize I fell asleep. So, because it felt like a quick nap, but I guess it was longer than that. I woke up to my son screaming coming down the steps because the smoke detector was going off. That's how deep my sleep was that quick. And I saw the fire. He was like, Mom, the kitchen's on fire. He went into the kitchen. So I was like, get out the kitchen. So I tried to put it out, put a cover over it, whatever. And it was like, no matter what, it was just getting bigger. So he wouldn't leave me. And I'm screaming like, get out, get out the kitchen, get out the kitchen. So call 911, this, that, and the other. Me fussing with him, I grabbed the water spout. And when I put water, it's an electric stove. And when I put water on it, it flew back on me. And the fire department, the alarm was going off. The fire department came. I didn't even know I was burned. I'm arguing with the fire people, like, go ahead, I'm fine. Just check my son. I'm good. I put it out. It really, it was like the whole kitchen it was like just that part where the stove was. I was like, I guess I wasn't going in shock. I don't know. I was arguing with the fire department people, and the guy was like, are you refusing help? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just hot. I want to lay down. So they came in the house, they checked, and it was like, it's clear. Then the ambulance truck came, and my son was sitting. They wouldn't let him come in. I was standing at the door. So after I finished having words with the fire department, but me and the gentleman that was arguing because I was just scared, like, what is going on? We apologized to each other. Well, the guys in the ambulance truck was like, I said, can you just give me something cold? I want to go back in the house and go to sleep. I said, the fire's out now. Let me just go to sleep. I'll wake up. I'll clean it later. Boom, boom, boom. And they was like, okay. I said, well, check my son. So they was like, if we check your son, would you let us check you? I said, I'm fine. Now, mind you, I've been burnt. I have no idea. I was just hot. Because it was hot outside that day. So I'm like, maybe because, your heart pumping, you like, okay. So he was like, if we look at your son, Miss Jackson, I said, don't call me that, call me V. He said, okay, V, if we bring your son in here and we check him, they checked him like really quickly. They was like, he's fine. They was like, well, you said you would let us check you. And as soon as they did that, they shut the doors, and I was on my way to Washington Hospital Center. Still did not know that I was burnt.
So at that time, you had already been burnt, or were you still
I had already been
burning?
Burnt because when I was there, I was still burning.
Oh God!
They said because they said that I was going in shock because anytime you want to go to sleep, things of that nature, and then I had wine too, so that played a factor as well. And then they were concerned because you can only be in a house when there's smoke. Because the crazy part is I used to do volunteer at a fire department. That's crazy because all that went out the window. But you're not supposed to inhale smoke longer than a minute or something, or it messes with your lungs. And because I was asthmatic, they were very concerned.
Yeah.
So when I got to the hospital, I'm going to be very honest. I still didn't know. I still didn't know. I just said I was hot. The doctors were looking. I guess they was observing, the burns. And my sister got there, and then my son was sitting right beside me. He was just as calm as he could be. I can be honest with you. I thought that was going to be it for me.
What do you mean? What do you mean it for you?
I just thought that was going to be like I was going to be gone. Like everybody was going to be bringing flowers.
So why do you think that?
Because I was tired. It was like I was just mentally drained. 2 years ago, I went through a divorce, and then after that, I met somebody. They just ran me through the mud. It was just like things wasn't giving me a break, and it was like, but I still have to take care of my child. I still have to live my life. I still have to do these things, and I kept pushing myself, and I just think at that time, I just, it was like, okay, I guess it's severe, and my son was like, Mom, I know you're going to be okay. And I said, well, I'm going to, when I looked at him and he said that, that's why I was like, you know what, I got to fight.
So, okay.
But I didn't even realize the severity of the burns yet.
Because your face was burned? Your whole
My face was burnt.
Tell them.
Left and right. My face was burnt. My left and right arms to my hands were burnt. And the middle part of my chest and my breast.
And now I'm talking about burned severely, listeners.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about just a little burn. I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're not talking about where you light a match.
Like she was.
Like I'm going home.
So I just find that interesting because that's the thing about shock, and when you're just tired and you feel like that adrenaline is pumping, you don't even realize the severity of the accident. Because when I look at those pictures, and those pictures weren't right away. So those pictures were after you were in ICU. So when you finally discovered, well, first of all, let me go back. How long were you in ICU? And did they move you to ICU right away? Like when you went to the hospital, that's directly when
they brought me into the hospital, they had me where I guess they're acute care, whatever, at that time, because doctors, it was a bunch of doctors there. I just was tired, but I saw a lot of doctors. My sister was there talking to me. She was upset, and I was just making jokes because I saw how upset, they were. So I was just trying to make light of a situation because, like, I don't know how deep this was because I'm still, like, in a dumb mode, like, okay, it can't be that bad. So, and then, they sent me to ICU because they were concerned about me taking in so much smoke and me being asthmatic. So I was in ICU for 2 days, and then they took me down to their burn unit, which was on the 3rd floor. And then that's when they took the dead skin off after, the bandages and everything, and cleaned me up and rebandaged me back up.
And you were there how long?
I was in Washington Hospital Center almost 2 months.
Wow.
Just about 2 months.
Wow. How long were you in ICU before you were out of the burn unit?
I was in ICU for 2 days.
Okay.
I was in ICU for 2 days because they were very concerned about the breathing. So, and then the severity of my arm. My left side took majority of the burn. My chest area and my left arm, and they were concerned about my face, but the middle part of my face, that was the most severe. That was like 4 degrees. Everything was between my chest, my arms was 2 to 3 degree burns, and the middle part of my forehead was a 4-degree burn.
So the lower you go, the worse the burn is. The
higher you go. So So I had the 4 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's what I meant.
Quiet, girl.
Because I was like, wait, because I had to think about what did I say, because I'm still listening to the story, but the higher, the more severe of that burn. and I listen to you now. You've been in the hospital, for a very long time, like you said, 2 months. And you're dealing with this traumatic experience. Like, what happened? Did this really happen? Is this real? And I know you said to me that this particular accident showed you who your friends were, and you lost a lot of friends during this ordeal.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Now, don't get it twisted now. I was already cutting people off before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started taking a step back to reevaluate who I am, who I needed to be. Because I lost myself in the sense of, I got to be there for them. I got to be there for them. I want them to know that I'm loyal. I want them to know that I care, And it just kills me. What I realized, I was like that half of my life. Me and you've been my coach. You already know. My concern was always at that time to make sure if me and you close and you my friend, we don't have to talk every day, but I like to show that I'm there for you. And I just got tired. Like, I was getting tired already before the fire happened.
Yeah. So, and when I again, I just really want to stress, because Valencia, you have a way, and you do this with everything. You've been through some traumatic experiences in life. Like I was telling you, you're 45, but you have a life of an 80-year-old. Anything that could have happened to anyone, it happened to you. And when I talked to you, and when I've coached you, and when I've interviewed you prior to today, like, people say, well, did that stuff really happen? Because your spirit is just still the same. No matter what happens to you and anything. I mean, you have told the most terrifying stories of your life.
Right.
And you still have the same... You have the same tone, right? And you have the same tone, the same spirit. Why doesn't some of this happening right now? Why don't some of the experiences allow you to feel defeated, or have you, in a sense, in a place of, uncertainty? Why do you still have the same attitude that you've had prior to these events taking place? This one in particular.
I don't know. I think it's just
because you play down a lot. You play down a lot of things that have happened in your life, and I'm not saying that you're supposed to play it up, but even when you're talking about this, I don't think people really understand what you've been through and what you're going through now. So tell me why.
Well, I have been. A lot of things have popped and brought up some things in the surface along with this incident. It has made me really. This incident, the most though, has showed me. Actually, I love myself a lot more than I did before the fire.
Wonderful.
And the reason I say that is just, you can't take nothing from me if I'm not giving it to you. And trust me, even though I might laugh and I talk or I play it down, there has been, since this incident, there is a lot of that. Like, I have my moments I break down and I cry.
Yeah.
I have my moments where I feel like I'm alone. But, I go to therapy once or twice a week. They have group sessions at the hospital. I'm going to that.
Is this for PT? Is this for PTSD? Because I know that you struggle with PTSD from this.
My therapist is PTSD.
Okay.
And the group is for me to be around other survivors that have survived the same thing, so you could be around people to understand whatever you're feeling. We felt it too.
So other burn victims? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the blessing behind it, it's so funny.
There's always a blessing. Yep. Absolutely.
The blessing behind it was I was only in the hospital for, I think, 2 weeks. They had just did my skin grafts or something. I met a gentleman. He was a therapist, and he came in, and he walked me down the hall. I forgot what we were going somewhere, and he was like, this is what they do. They go on different trips, and he was like, I didn't even know he knew that I did makeup or anything. He was like, would you be interested in doing makeup or anything for the patients on the unit or whatever? And I was like, that would be great. So the therapist that's ahead of the group asked me again.
There's always a blessing. There's always a blessing filtered in there.
They're working on it now where I can at least come at least two times out the month and do makeup for the patients, things like that. And but they want to make sure mentally I get myself in order first as well. So I'd love to do it because now I can relate. I had a lot of anger though. I had a lot of anger. This is like when you a lost one. You go through all of those series of depression. I just recently am now getting my anger under control, and I did not realize I was angry.
What were you angry about?
Because when I look at myself, I see the burn. When you used to looking at yourself one way. Now you have this to remind you, like, this is you.
The new normal.
It's a new right.
Yeah.
So it's like everything is new. I don't like getting around the stove. My therapist came to my house for like 3 weeks, and I wouldn't go near the stove. I have panic attacks. I don't sleep upstairs right now.
Because you said you sleep on the couch because
I sleep on the couch.
And tell them why.
I sleep on the couch because I want to actually be closer to the kitchen so if anything happens.
That's that shock. That's that PTSD, thinking that something else may possibly happen in the kitchen, and it's difficult for you to see fire. It's difficult for you to cook. That must be just really a devastating experience when you're used to moving around, a certain way, or you're used to doing things without thinking, and now you have the reminder by looking at your arms, looking at your chest, looking at your face, and you're still in the same home that this happened with. This unfortunate accident happened right in the home that you're in now. How difficult is that for you when you just are at home? Not even in the kitchen, but just home.
Actually, if I'm in the living room, I'm actually fine. The reason I say that is because I'm either working on something for the business or pulling out product line that I have that's coming in. I kind of put myself to that. The issue is that I'm still a person that never really would go to sleep. Like I can go to sleep for an hour now and be up all night because that's just always been me. Now it's really, really hard for me to go right to sleep. So I ended up getting, I got me a dog, a little dog, just as another awareness to help me and keep me company so I can feel just a little bit safer.
Yeah. So everybody, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about how many surgeries Valencia had. We'll be right back. Thank you for shining with me, Kendall Denise. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. All right, it's time for this week's Life Note. All right, everybody, and we're back. All right, Miss Valencia J.
I am Valencia J.
Valencia J. All right, girl. So you've had a number of surgeries. Tell the listeners how many surgeries you had and what the surgeries were for. What was the ultimate goal of a successful surgery?
Well, I had skin grafts, which they took skin from my thigh and put it on my arms, my chest, my hands, and then they did pig skin for the middle part of my face. Once that heals, you go back. I think I came home, they wait like 2 months or so. I have a total of 12 surgeries, which is laser treatment surgeries. And what that basically does, that actually thins the skin down to make it more softer, more feel like your skin, and you'll be able to be, it'll like thin out.
Is this what
it looks more natural.
Is this the pig skin we're talking about?
Yeah, the laser treatment thins the pig skin. The pig skin is fine. Mm-hmm. They took that out because they wanted that. My forehead was the longest to heal. Mm-hmm. But they took the pig skin out, but my skin grafts, that's my very own skin. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they put me, I'm in the hospital for like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do laser treatment, and it's this little needle. I'm asleep though, but it's a little needle because you feel it when you get up, and it goes through the skin, and it pokes holes in it to start thinning the skin down to make it more natural.
So what's the duration of each surgery? How long does each surgery take?
Each surgery has taken about an hour.
An hour? And how long are you in the hospital?
It's in and out.
So once you've had your surgery, so they did what they did, and you've gotten, how many surgeries did you get while you were in the hospital for those 2 months?
I got 3 surgeries.
Okay. And then they sent you home?
They sent me home.
Okay. And what did you have?
After they sent me home, you have to watch. They use Dial soap because it's an antibacterial. Now, mind you, when I was in the hospital and when they would start giving me showers, I had to get assistance, and they had to give me a numbing pain, and because I couldn't take it. So taking a shower when I got home was kind of hard because you still feel the pain. I was on oxycodone and things of that nature for a while. And then once after you heal a little bit and the pain starts to come down some, they take you slowly off of it because they don't want you to get addicted. Mm-hmm. And then once we do the laser treatments, I've only had 3 so far.
And you have to get a total of 12?
12, mm-hmm. Yes, and I get them every 3 to 4 weeks.
So what improvements have you seen thus far? Because your chest and your arms, that was pretty bad. And your face was really, your face was bad too, Valencia. When I looked at the photos, I mean, this was severe. This was an accident. This was, something not to be taken lightly. But I'm so glad that you can still find the blessing in it. I'm so glad that you are still here to talk about it. I'm so glad that you are inspiring other people to continue on, and you're giving people a warning.
Yeah.
So what type?
Don't take don't take life for granted. Don't. Life is not short. Life is a second. Everything can be going for you so good in 10 minutes, but it can turn so bad in the next 10.
That's so true.
Every second is a treasure.
That's so true.
So
is that what you learned from this? Is that what you learned from this?
I learned that, yeah, because I got comfortable. I work a lot. I was working a lot. I got discouraged. I was, that's why I wanted to be around people that I knew for so long, because it was like, I tried to show them how I cared. But at the same given time, if you don't care about yourself, Nobody's going to care for you like you do for yourself.
I know you said you lost a
And
lot of friends through this, but who was there for you? Who was that ride or die person
the people
that
I
was there
least
for you?
expected.
Wow. They showed up.
They showed up and showed out. I actually have, well, I know a girlfriend of mine, I've known her for like 20-something years. She doesn't drive to D.C. She caught a lift up there. Then another girlfriend of mine knows my family. She don't like hospitals, but she came to visit. Another girlfriend of mine, her and her boyfriend came. My supervisor came. My client, she came with stuffed animals. My therapist came. It was just like people that I did not expect was the people that showed.
And I had no idea. I just reached out to you and you said, well, you haven't seen Facebook? And I said, no. And you sent me that picture and I could not believe you were, because even when I talked to you, you still were kind of nonchalant. You were like, oh yeah, I was burned. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay. Not knowing the severity of it because I could not tell in your voice. I didn't know what happened. I didn't see it on Facebook. So when you said that,
I think a lot of people, and my sister's friends, my sister said her phone was blowing up so much she wanted to shut her phone off.
Wow.
So, and so people were calling ICU. But I was so much on medication. They would tell me like, people just saying they praying for you, this, that, and the other. And the people that I couldn't tell thank you, I thank you, but at the same given time, that wasn't something I wanted to post.
Right.
Because, people that claim that you're your friends, soon as everybody play, let's not get it twisted. The people that smile in your face are the ones that want you to do the worst. So they could have been praying for my downfall. It just was ridiculous. I just was like, I'm not posting that. If you're really concerned about me, you don't hear from me, then you make an effort. I make an effort when you needed me.
Right, especially if you talk to someone on the regular basis. That's why I always say it's so important to check on your people, see about your people. See if they're okay, because you don't know what people are going through. And in this age of social media, people assume that you're going to post your entire life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, on social media. And that might be true for some. Some people post everything. But I remember I was in a major car accident. I didn't post anything. And, a year later, I had posted the picture of the car and they're like, oh, sorry. And I was like, no, that was a year ago. And the only reason why I posted it then is to show how good God was, how he kept me alive, how I made it through. It was for inspiration. But when you're going through something, and you went through something, you almost died, your skin was burning and you had no idea. You had no idea what was happening. So, and some people are on the ambulance filming themselves, going on live saying this is what happened and that's what happened. And I get it. And that's a whole nother show about the attention and what people really need, and the yearning for likes and, sympathy and friendships and all of that. And that will be another show. But what... outside of you looking, this show went so fast and we have about 10 minutes, but outside of you really seeing the value of life and talking about how quick it can change in a second, in a millisecond, it could change. Your life could be totally different. And you said the day after you decided to live differently, August of last year, you decided to live differently. You were going to choose you. Why is it so important to see the value in you and see that you need you? Other people need you, but you need you first. Why is that so important?
Because well, first of all, you always gonna have God.
Absolutely.
But being here, you need to have yourself. Because out of everybody that you hang around, or everybody you feel like, oh, I can always rely on them. You gotta rely on you. You gotta love yourself. That's why I tell, now, it's like, I'm not, when you in your 20s, you unstoppable. You can jump from roofs. You can do whatever you want to do, But when you get older, you just look at things in so many different lights. And that just showed me I saw heaven and hell. Okay? Heaven didn't want me because he was like, he wasn't ready. And I don't want to go to hell.
So, well, what do you mean? Explain what you mean. How did you see them both?
When I saw, because the thing is when you're under so much, pressure and you're going through that, and all you can do is just lay there and lay there. It's just like you start reevaluating yourself.
Because you must have been in a lot of pain. You must have, like you said.
I was in a lot of pain.
Uh-huh.
Right. And all I could do is lay there from time to time. This is before I even really started walking. But at the same given time.
So you couldn't walk. You couldn't walk.
No, I couldn't get up out there. They wouldn't let me out the bed.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead.
But when I say I saw heaven and hell, I saw where I was like, God, I'm tired. You know, and he was like, okay, you got to fight. I just saw that. And then I was like, I'm too strong for this. You know, something has to give. You can't quit. I mean, you come too far. It's so many things that you have not done yet. And I saw the good and the bad. And it just gave me an insight like, you could have died. They said if I was in the fire any longer, the fire would have went to my esophagus.
So, and that's what I want people to understand. I want people to know when you're talking about a fire, the most dangerous outside, yes, being burned and, your body burnt in that fashion is going to, physically alter you. It's going to be painful. All the things that you can imagine if you burn. Think about when you burn your finger when you're cooking or your arm. But that smoke is the real beast. That's the silent killer.
That's the silent killer.
And people don't realize. Yeah, that smoke will kill you. Over like with you with the burns and and I'm not making light of it by any means, but the burns and the surgeries you had and the skin grafts and all of that. And that's something that you could physically see. But when you inhale that smoke, like you said, how long do you have?
You have 1.2 seconds. You can't be in there you can't be past those seconds.
Wow.
That's when it's really severe for your lungs. So
wow.
You have to, that's why they say when you in a fire, get out. You have to get out.
And I want you, and I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you're telling the listeners that, because I didn't know that. And I'm sure a lot of people, of course they tell you to get out right away, but they don't tell you that's such a small window, 1.2 seconds.
Very small.
So, and listeners, I'm talking to you. Don't go back for anything. You make sure your children are okay. You make sure your family members are okay. You try to get your family members out. Most importantly, get yourself out of there. Nothing in that house is worth your life. And if you go back in for that 1 second, I don't know if anybody watches the show This Is Us, and he went back in to get the dog. And they thought he was fine. Everything was good. He wasn't burnt alive. And then end up going to the hospital. And later he passed away because of the smoke inhalation where they thought he was fine. So you might think that you'll be fine and you're not burned and you're not near the fire, but it's the smoke that can kill you. And you really have to understand that. This accident could happen to anybody. No one is exempt. No one is exempt.
Please don't. People think they so exempt. It's crazy.
Now, have you ever been through it? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, have you ever been through this before? Have you ever experienced a fire before? Have you ever been in a house fire, in a work fire?
No. Nope. This is the first. Thank God, and it will be the last, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just
not attempt this at home.
Right. And we have a few minutes left, but I want you to talk about God and what God has meant to you through this time.
Oh my God. That man has showed up and showed out. He has done so many things. I can't even begin. We don't have enough time. I never doubted him. I know who he is. You know, I grew up in the church. I know all that. But when I tell you, when you by yourself and you sit back and you look like at the things you're going through, like as far as me, my disability, my finances, you know, I'm not stressing. I'm okay. You know, I just know that he's there, and he didn't bring me this far to leave me. And he still want me around for something. So, like somebody told me in group, your work not done.
Right. Absolutely.
So I don't, you know,
So did it restore? Did it renew your faith?
It renewed it. It renewed it 1,000 more.
Wow.
It really did. It renewed it 1,000 more. Because when you're, like I said, when you're laying in the hospital and you have these doctors walk around with their students, and then you have people looking at your wounds, then you have these nurses helping you, then you're taking this medication. You know, you're not home. Your son is somewhere else with one of your girlfriends. She's keeping them for you. You're not in your house. You know, and when not saying that it's people in the hospital, but they're not in your room all the time.
Right.
It's just the TV and you, and you're laying there.
Right.
You know, at that time, I just didn't want. You know, I cut my phone off that night, and then, you know, I would cut it back on the next day. But it just was. It's crazy. It just was like everybody was like, your attitude, your spirit is so high, and it was. And you know, but like I said, when you get home and you start looking at yourself, it takes a toll.
Yeah, and that's where the depression sits in. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're taking care of your child, you're smiling for your child. You're making sure you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You're paying the bills. You're running around, getting this done, getting that done. But when you sit down and you sit in it, and you see yourself, that's when the realness come. And one day I woke up, I said, I can't do this, God. I was on my way to a therapy session. I said, I can't do this. I woke up and looked in the mirror. I said, I can't do it. I think 2 minutes later, I stopped crying, and it was like, okay, we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, God, I'm going to get it done.
You got to get back up. You got to get back up.
Yeah, but I was in pain.
Yeah.
I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
I was just in, I was by myself. I don't have a boyfriend or a husband or anything. You know what I mean? So I got to go get the groceries.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
Because and I think a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of women out there, a lot of men who are single parents. You still have to be a parent, even when you're suffering, even when you're going through it, even when you don't think that you're going to make it. You still have to be that parent. This is part one with Valencia's story. Next week, we're going to talk about her purpose. We're going to talk about her passion, and we're going to talk about her recovery. And we might even go into a lot of things that have happened in her life that brought her to this point. Valencia, we got about 2 minutes. Is there anything that you want to tell the people before our next show next week?
I mean, all I'll say is just try to go to sleep with a clear mind, but wake up with a clean spirit and live your life, you know, because you just don't know. You don't know.
Right.
That's all I can say. You just don't know.
You never know.
You never know. And don't take things for granted. If your child needs a hug, give them a hug. Even if you don't feel like it, just hug them. You know, tell somebody you love them. If you really love them, say it. Closed mouths don't get fed. And can't nobody read your mind.
Right. And I think that go ahead.
No, I was just saying, just remember that. Take that, you know, keep God first.
Absolutely. And we'll end right there until next week. If you learn anything from tonight's show, learn that life is precious and life is short. In 1.2 seconds, if you've experienced a house fire or a fire of any kind, you could have been taken out of here, Valencia. You guys really have to cherish your life and live every moment like it's the first moment of your life. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and join us next week on Shine for Part 2 with Valencia J. Until next time, God bless. Thank you for tuning in to Shine. Shine airs live every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information about Shine and Kendall Lanise, visit livingtruelivingyou.com. Remember, it's never too late to remix your life. Right now, don't forget to go to Amazon.com for my latest book, The Best Gift Ever, A Guide to Loving You, Learning How to Live Your Best Life. Make sure you leave a review on Amazon.com. Anyone who does will have their book personally signed by me, Kendall Anise. Send me an email at livingtruelivingyou@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you receive your signed copy. We'll be right back.